Well, welcome back, folks. Today's video is really going to be a compilation of several clips working on the various components of the rewiring project for the little 8N tractor. Specifically, we're going to talk about the battery box in some detail and the voltage regulator and some of the things I ran into there. I'm in the process, as of this video, of doing the complete rewire of the tractor. It's not quite done yet, but it will be very soon. I'm expecting probably the next video after this one will show the wiring in its complete phase, and I'll run the tractor. Well, at least we'll hope we can run the tractor at that point. But we're not quite ready for that yet. So I thought in the meantime I'd share with you some of the things I've been going through with preparing for the rewiring, and that's what this video is going to be about. So without further ado, let's get into it. As part of the rewiring of the Ford 8N tractor, I'm going to recondition the battery box, and that's what you see here. I have just finished doing an initial media blasting of the unit, and I'm actually quite surprised how good a condition it's in, considering most battery boxes don't survive. And I really think that the reason this one has survived as well as it has, two reasons. One is the quality of the steel. I think it was made with very good quality steel, and it's very heavy. That's a heavy piece. There is some corrosion down in this corner right here. Inevitably, that comes from battery acid spillage. A little bit right in through here. And you can see a little bit has leaked through onto the bottom here. But other than that, it's really solid. Now you can buy repopped, reproduced battery trays. The lids, the covers, everything else, which is missing on this one. This does not have a cover, which I will get a reproduction unit for. But you can buy this intact, already painted, though it probably wouldn't match the red on my tractor. But I'm going to reuse this one. There's really no reason not to. It's very solid. It's not even close to being rusted through here in this corner. It does have a couple of little anomalies. One is, you can see this wrinkle probably right here, and another one right here. The metal got bent over. Now again, I think, Bubba's been involved here in some form. I don't know how, because this is pretty heavy. This is heavy steel. I don't know what gauge it is, but it's probably 14 gauge-ish. Heavier than 16, that's for sure. But anyway, how someone would get this bent like this is absolutely beyond me. I have handled hundreds, probably thousands of batteries in my life, including for tractors, motorcycles, everything else you can think of. And I don't think I ever once in my life damaged a battery box like this. And again, given the weight of the metal, I don't know what they were doing. But anyway, what I'm going to do is straighten this out, these wrinkles, as best I can. Probably use an anvil of some kind to let me get this back in the shot here for you, and try to get this as straight as I can, and work them out so that they're straight again. That's one thing I'm going to do. One other thing I did, by the way, is I removed this aluminum tag right here, which was positioned like that. And I just knocked the rivets out. Here's the rivets. I just knocked those rivets out from the inside, from this side, and I just popped them through with a punch, and they came right out. Can't quite read what this is. There's lettering and verbiage on here, but I can't quite read it. I might try to clean that up a little bit. I don't know, but I want to take it off to paint it. Number one, because it was painted underneath it, which means this was installed after the battery box was painted. And I wanted to get a good look at the paint that was underneath here, because it was protected all these years from the sun and debris and exposure. Got a couple of very good photos of this original paint that was behind this tag, and I want to compare that to the red that I'm using on my tractor, and I think they're going to match pretty close. Now I will soak this for a couple of days in evaporust to get all the remaining rust and corrosion out of the pores. Now in terms of primer, what I'm going to use is Pour 15. I've used this off and on over the years for many different projects that have similar conditions to this one. That is, they have had significant erosion of the metal due to battery acid or just rust. This is a used can, though it's still liquid. It's a few years old. This happens to be clear, but it doesn't make any difference. When you get colored paints or primers, it's the same material. It's just that they use a pigment to add color to it. So this is the same thing as if it was gray or black or any other color. It just happens to be clear. I will have to open this up and check to see if it's still good inside. If it's not, I'll just order another can of it. But I'm going to brush prime this with Pour 15. Then I will paint it with the red by hand. I won't spray it. I will brush this one on as well, 2 or 3 coats when I'm ready for that. But first I got a little repair to do here and here. And oh, there's one other thing I want to share with you. I forgot to point out. You can see probably right here, there's 2 captured nuts. One here for the bolt to come through from this side, and there's a captured nut right here, and you can see it's bent away. It was I'm sure spot welded in place before this was bent. And I don't know whether this happened at the factory when they went to assemble it, or Bubba got in here somehow and bent that away. So my intent is to try to carefully bend this back and get it into position and maybe just tack weld it in place. I can't spot weld it, obviously, without, well, I could drill a hole through from this side, I suppose, but I'm not going to do that. I'll see if I can't just spot weld it, or tack weld it rather, right in here with my MIG welder, but we'll see. Anyway, this captive nut has been bent somewhere along the way, whether from the factory or Bubba got at it. I don't really know, but you can, I think, see it right there. So we're going to go ahead and do some repairs on this, and I will bring you back eventually, let you see how I'm doing. I don't know at what stage or step that will be, but we'll be back and take a look at this later. It's a few days later now, and as you can see, I've got the battery box all cleaned up, and it's about ready for the Pour 15. You will notice here, I think, let me get this back for you, I did straighten these wrinkled edges as best I could. To do that, I just used a real heavy adjustable wrench, like you can see here, and you slip it over the metal like that, and then you just work it back. That works really well because it can accommodate obviously any size, within reason of course, any size metal. It's heavy and you've got a lot of leverage with it. So that's a great technique to straighten something like this. And then I touched it up with a flap disc just to smooth it out. You can see there. It'll never be perfect again. I want to share with you the work that I've been doing on the voltage regulator. Now the voltage regulator fits right where you see that little rectangular shaped plate. That is the original backer support plate for the original voltage regulator. When I got the machine, not surprising, it had an aftermarket regulator, and this is it right here with the cover off. Very typical, I think, of aftermarket 6-volt regulators. And this unit, obviously it has the cover off, this unit was mounted just like that, only it had, of course, the cover on it, with a washer, flat washer, lock washer, and a nut here at the top that held that on. But that was it, and it could literally float like that, or had movement depending on how tight the nut was. And then the wiring, of course, tied in here into the ground. You can see here I've started to pull the new wiring harness that eventually will be tied into all of this. But before I did that, I want to go over this situation with the regulator. Anyway, that was it. And that doesn't work for me, I'm afraid. That you don't have a real solid connection. This is a rubber bumper right here at the top, which I believe was original. And I'm suspecting, though I don't know for sure, I'd have to spend more time with the parts diagrams. There was probably 4 bumpers and 4 screws here, 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 and here. And, you know, Bubba, probably multiple Bubbas over the years. After all, the tractor's 75 years old, got in here and fiddled around and install it like that, which isn't going to work. So what I did is I made up my own bumpers and a backer plate. Let me show you what that looks like. Here's a backer plate I made up, and the idea is that this will go like that. The outline I know is a little bit unconventional, but that's really just the shape of the back of the regulator itself, as you can see there. I just held the regulator on a piece of sheet metal and I traced it and then I cut it out on a bandsaw. I wanted full support of the back of the regulator, but I didn't want it hanging out over the side. I could have made this, you know, rectangular if I wanted to. So my plan is to bolt through these 2 holes here, these smaller holes, through the back of the dash, using the original holes in the backer plate. I made 2 bumpers right here. I just took bungs or rubber plugs that you'd use for like bottles, corks, that kind of thing. You can buy those at most hardware stores. And the depth of this grommet at the top is 1/2 inch. So I just cut them off to 1/2 inch, drilled the appropriate hole, and they will go like that behind this plate. So that will be attached, and then from there I will take the regulator and I will attach that directly to the plate using this screw at the top and then 2 new screws here and here with rubber isolation behind it so it can't go anywhere. Then of course I will go ahead and connect the wires up. So that's my plan for the voltage regulator. It's not ideal. I know it's not original, but this isn't original anyway, the voltage regulator, so I'm going to try to improve its mounting, make sure it's got a good ground. This does have to be grounded, of course. In fact, I think that wire right there is the ground, will go probably there. And I did, in fact, repaint the cover from blue to the Ford red that I'm using, or New Holland red. That will go over the top of this eventually. So let me go ahead and put this together, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what it's going to look like in its assembled state. I thought I'd give you a view of the repainted battery box. It's very hard, or at least it's hard for me, to paint this kind of a shaped part because it's difficult to prevent paint accumulating in these corners, and you get runs and you get drips off these edges where it wants to lay underneath, and it's a little messy, and my preferred method would be to spray it. Now I'm at least several months away as of this recording from being able to paint outside. It's midwinter here where I live, and there's no way I could paint yet, so I didn't really want to wait until then to paint it or spray paint it, which I will do with the seat pan and maybe a few other pieces. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to get this back in the tractor. So it's not perfect. If you look up close, it's very, very good, but it's not perfect. It's not as nice a paint job as it would be if it was spray painted. And no, I'm not going to spray paint it. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. Right now, the paint's a little bit green. It's dry to the touch, but it's a little green. What I mean by that is it's not fully cured out, so it's a little bit on the soft side. So probably going to try to put it in my oven and bake it a bit and see if I can speed the process up, because I would like to put this back in the tractor to go ahead and finish up, get on with the wiring. Now I can of course rig up the battery without to start the tractor with the new wiring without having the battery box, but eventually I want to get the battery box in so I can just complete that part of the project. That is the rewiring of the tractor. I did find the plate that goes on the back side here. You can see these 4 holes are right there. I think you can probably see them. And that is a patent number plate. that Ford applied there, and you can actually buy those in reproduction with the rivets. And I'll go ahead now and put a photo of that plate that I am eventually going to buy. I haven't bought one yet, but I will put one on this this unit before or after I install it, one or the other. I haven't decided yet. But let me put a photo up of that so you can see what it looks like. I think that'll finish off this battery box really well, and about all I got to do now is get it good and dry, and then I'm going to put it back in the tractor and finish up with the wiring. As of this recording, I have not quite finished up the wiring yet. I'm in process, but I'm getting close. So that's content for this video. I know it wasn't a lot, but I just want to keep you appraised of where I'm at with the rewiring project. Again, in the next video after this one probably, we'll show the finished product, that is the finished wiring, and if everything goes well, we'll start the tractor and show you it running under with the new wiring. So that's going to be it for today, folks. Any issues, questions, thoughts, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.